Rahul's journey from poverty to purpose. In a tiny, forgotten village in the heart of India, a boy named Rahul was born into a life of hardship. His home was a one-room clay house with a rusted tin roof where rain often leaked through. His parents, both hard-working farmers, toiled day and night, but earned barely enough to feed their family. While many children played freely in the fields, Rahul often sat by the window, watching the clouds drift by and imagining a different life. A life where he could fly on airplanes, build amazing machines, and live in a city filled with bright lights. His father once said, "Dreams are for people who have food in their stomach." But Rahul believed otherwise. Even though he didn't have new clothes or toys or even shoes sometimes, he had something powerful, a dream. And that dream was to become an engineer. Rahul's love for machines began when an old radio at home stopped working. His father wanted to throw it away, but Rahul begged, "Let me try to fix it." He opened it with a spoon and stared at the strange wires and parts inside. He didn't know what he was doing, but he was curious. He kept working on it every day after school. 1 week later, with wires sticking out like spaghetti and one missing screw, the radio suddenly came alive and played a song. It was a small victory, but to Rahul, it felt like he had conquered the world. That moment planted a seed in his heart. If he could fix a radio, maybe he could fix bigger things. Maybe he could build something that mattered. Every day, Rahul walked 5 kilometers to a government school with cracked walls and broken chairs. The teachers came late. The blackboard was old and books were shared between students. But Rahul was never late. He sat in the front row, scribbling notes in a half-torn notebook, listening closely even when he didn't understand everything. English was difficult for him. The words felt foreign. But he tried. He memorized phrases and copied lines from his textbooks into the dirt outside his house, using a stick when he couldn't afford a pen. At night, while the village slept, Rahul studied under the flickering light of a kerosene lamp, rubbing his eyes to stay awake. His father once said, "Stop wasting time. No one from this village becomes an engineer." But Rahul whispered to himself, "I will." One rainy afternoon, while Rahul was helping fix a villager's broken bicycle, a man in a white kurta and glasses stood watching him. His name was Mr. Das, a retired engineer visiting his hometown. He was surprised by Rahul's clever hands and asked, "Who taught you this?" Rahul replied, "Books and trying." Mr. Das smiled. "You have talent, boy." That was the start of something beautiful. Mr. Das began visiting Rahul often, bringing him old engineering books and explaining basic concepts in simple language. Rahul listened like a sponge, absorbing everything. Mr. Das gave him an old laptop. "It's slow, but it works," he said. For the first time, Rahul touched a computer. He taught himself how to type. He read about engines, circuits, and even downloaded an offline dictionary to improve his English. He had no internet, but his hunger for learning was limitless. Rahul applied to one of the best engineering colleges in the state. He studied day and night for the entrance exam. He even missed meals. Finally, the results came out. He had passed with one of the highest scores in the district. But there was one problem: money. The college fee was too high. His parents couldn't even afford a train ticket to the city, let alone the tuition. Rahul cried quietly that night. He had worked so hard. Was this the end? The next morning, Mr. Das came with a letter. It was a scholarship from an educational trust Mr. Das had contacted secretly. "You're going to college, Rahul," he said. Rahul hugged him and wept. Rahul arrived in the city with a bag of clothes, a stack of books, and a heart full of hope. But the city was a different world. Everything moved fast. People spoke English fluently. They wore fancy clothes. Some even laughed at his accent. He felt small and lost. But Rahul did what he always did. He worked harder. He stayed in the library, watched English YouTube videos with subtitles, and practiced speaking in front of a mirror. He joined English clubs and slowly began to speak without fear. He also took part-time jobs, delivering food, cleaning offices, just to survive. But he never missed a class. In his second year, Rahul built a low-cost irrigation system for poor farmers as part of a college project. His professors were impressed. The project was selected for a national-level competition. On stage, Rahul gave a speech in English. He was nervous, but his voice was steady. "My name is Rahul. I come from a village with no internet, no proper roads. But we have something powerful, dreams, and this machine is for the farmers like my father." The audience stood and clapped. Rahul had arrived. After graduation, Rahul was offered jobs in big companies, even abroad. But he remembered his village, the dusty roads, the broken school, the boys who didn't believe they could be anything more. He returned home. With the help of donations and his savings, he opened a learning center, a small building with computers, books, and solar panels. He taught children how to use technology. He invited engineers to speak. He even taught English using stories, just like how he had learned. His village changed. Children smiled more. They believed more. Years later, when a news reporter asked him, "Why didn't you choose a better life in the city?" Rahul replied, "I did choose a better life. I chose to build a road for others, not just for myself." That night, he sat outside his center under the stars. He looked up and whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Das. Thank you, Father. Thank you, dreams." Rahul's story spread across the country. His center grew, and he became a symbol of what's possible when dreams meet courage. Not everyone starts with money, but everyone can start with hope. And hope, when guided by action, can change everything.